Welcome back to the Hot Zone Sports Report with me, Ryan Van Deaver. Now let's move on to the article. 3 takeaways. Luka Dončić looks indomitable while Ant looks debilitated. The game-winning 3 by Luka Dončić not only gave Dallas a 2-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals, but it may have taken the life out of the Timberwolves. Thanks again for supporting the Hot Zone Sports Report. Your subscriptions make this site possible. And if you're new here, click that subscribe button and join a community that shares your enthusiasm for sports. Questions, comments, article ideas, angry missives can be sent to me at Hot Zone Sports on Twitter/X. Fans witnessed an unforgettable moment when Luka Dončić during last night's game between the Mavericks and the Timberwolves, just in case you missed it. Following a thrilling 109-108 victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 2, the Dallas Mavericks now hold a 2-0 advantage in the Western Conference Finals. Luka Dončic's remarkable game-winning step-back three-pointer over Rudy Gobert highlighted the game with only 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Timberwolves led by as many as 18 points before Dallas launched a monumental second-half comeback. The Mavericks are just 2 wins shy of reaching the NBA Finals, and they have the advantage of playing their next 2 games at home. The Mavericks' ability to stage a comeback against the Timberwolves, despite being 18 points down and trailing for most of the game, showcases the team's resolve and composure. It was evident that Minnesota was fatigued after the halftime break, and Anthony Edwards' scoring dropping to just 8 points in the second half compared to his 21-point total. Karl Anthony Towns had a minimal impact on offense, only scoring 15 points on 4 of 16 shooting. In the final stretch, he found himself on the bench partly due to his lackluster performance and also because Naz Reid was on fire, shooting 7 of 9 from three-point range and scoring 23 points. Although he couldn't deliver when it mattered the most, his potential game-winning three-pointer narrowly missed as the buzzer sounded. Here are a few takeaways from Friday's Game 2. What can the Wolves do with Luka? There will be extensive deliberation about Doncic's game-winning shot, particularly regarding the decision to keep Gobert on the court despite the Wolves' plan to switch on all screens. By implementing the scheme, Dončić was able to create a one-on-one situation against the 7-foot player, and the result was evident to everyone. Dončić was utterly unfazed by the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, which is a separate concern altogether. When Luka possesses the ball in a critical moment, the defense faces a strong choice. Either double-team him or face an inevitable defeat. I strongly believe you can deduce the choice made by the Wolves last night. Dončić was asked if he was taken aback by the Wolves' choice to switch on the play after the game. Quote, "I was a little bit, yeah, actually," Dončić said. "I think they were going just no threes. So he tried to stay up, but I saw the space and get to my spot. I mean, he's long enough, he can't move. I can't move fast, but I can move faster than him." End quote. In hindsight, it seems evident that the Wolves should have trapped Dončić when he used the screen, or that Gobert should have not even been on the court during that possession. Throughout the night, the Wolves tried various defensive strategies against Dončić, but they had limited success. When confronted with the blitz, Dončić remained composed, patiently waiting for the ideal opportunity to make a cut or take an open three-pointer, and then skillfully executing pinpoint passes. Dončić created a problematic situation for the defenders when Gobert or other bigs defended the pick and roll. He would position himself well, forcing the big to choose between challenging his shot or defending against the lob. It was an incredibly challenging task for him, to say the least, and ultimately, Dončić became their downfall. It's challenging to find a straightforward response against such a talented player, but the Wolves seemed perplexed at moments while attempting to counter Dončić with different defensive tactics. In this series, the Wolves have had 2 games to devise a plan on how to effectively tackle Dončić. In Game 3, they will likely opt for a default coverage, which they have already employed in the previous games, and utilize it more persistently. They might also sporadically introduce defensive variations to catch Dončić off guard and keep him on his toes. Ant looks, dare I say, normal. It's challenging to visualize a young and fit 22-year-old getting fatigued, but the considerable responsibilities assigned to Anthony Edwards on offense and defense during these 3 playoff rounds are undeniably exhausting him. He has had to defend several top players, including Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Jamal Murray, and now Kyrie Irving. The situation would usually leave any person breathless, but for someone like Anthony Edwards, who is expected to be superhuman, he appears surprisingly weak and, dare I say, ordinary. Out of 33 attempts, he has made 11 shots in this series. And if you include the 7th game against Denver, the record becomes 17 out of 57. It's clear that he has encountered a significant obstacle, and his entire team won't be able to help him overcome this challenge. He will have to dig deep. He's not getting the shots that he wants, and even when he does, and is turning down said shots. Quote, "I'm turning down a lot of shots, especially in the mid-range," he said. "I'm just making the right play. Maybe the right play might be just to shoot it," end quote. In a game where the Wolves were understandably desperate for a victory, the Mavericks were trailing by 5 points with only 66 seconds left on the road. But with the Wolves up 2 points and just 12.8 seconds remaining, Edwards, who grew more frustrated as the game went along, eventually lost his composure and tossed a pass into the first row. After that, the Wolves never really had a chance to recover because of the phenom known as Luka Dončić. The Timberwolves require Ant to tap into his superhuman abilities. He has consistently performed at that level throughout the playoffs. Still, for the Timberwolves to reach the NBA Finals and secure victory in this series, he must tap into his remaining energy. Gafford and Lively II are a deadly combination. It's hard to embellish how crucial the center combo of Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively II have been for the Mavericks this postseason. I don't say this lightly, but they are the twin towers of the playoffs, and it doesn't look like much will prevent them from assuming that role. You could say that Friday night's game may have been their best performance to date. They combined for 30 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks, all from Gafford, while continuously being the driving force of on the defensive end of the floor. Their length defensively protected the paint from the Wolves' penetration, particularly in the second half, and they repeatedly caught lobs from Dončić and Irving. Gafford and Lively combined for 11 dunks in last night's game. They both exhibit comparable athleticism and size on the court. When either one or both players are on the court, the Mavericks team gains another dimension. The synergy between Gafford and Lively in Dallas has been flawless, potentially preparing the franchise to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2011. Notable statistics for Game 2. Dallas Mavericks. Luka Dončić, 32 points, 13 assists, 10 rebounds, and 5 for 11 three-point shooting. Kyrie Irving, 20 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Daniel Gafford, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5 blocks. Derek Lively II, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, 21 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 5 of 17 for field goal shooting. Mike Conley, 18 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Naz Reid, 23 points, 7 of 9 3-point shooting. And Karl Anthony Towns, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 of 16 shooting in 25 minutes. I hope you enjoyed today's article. And thanks again for supporting the Hot Zone Sports Report. Your subscriptions make this site possible. And if you're new here, click that subscribe button and join a community that shares your enthusiasm for sports. Questions, comments, article ideas, angry missives, and more can be sent to me at Hot Zone Sports on Twitter/X. We appreciate the time you've taken to read our article and hope you'll stay tuned for future updates. By subscribing, you'll be sure you receive said notifications about new content, particularly if you found this piece enlightening. Remember to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for the latest sports breaking news updates throughout the day. I hope everybody has a great weekend and enjoys the Pacers game tonight, and it looks like Tyrese Halliburton is not going to be playing. That is the Hot Zone Sports Report for Saturday, May 25th. And this is the Hot Zone Sports Report logging off.